Imagine losing everything: your home, your family, your name. Imagine being stripped down to nothing. No clothes, no identity, no future. Now imagine someone asking you, in the middle of all that horror, what is the meaning of your life? Most of us would have no answer, but one man did. And the answer he found, in the darkest place on earth, changed the way millions of people think about suffering, survival, and what it really means to be alive. Today, we're going to talk about that man and his book. Viktor Frankl was born in Vienna, Austria, in 1905. From a very young age, he was fascinated by one question: what makes a human being want to keep living? He studied medicine. He became a psychiatrist. He worked with patients who were struggling with depression, hopelessness, and suicidal thoughts. And he developed his own school of thought, a form of therapy built around one central idea: that the deepest human need is not pleasure, not power, but meaning. He called it logotherapy. We'll get to that. But then, in 1942, everything changed. Viktor Frankl, his wife, and his parents were arrested by the Nazis. They were sent to concentration camps. His wife and parents did not survive. Frankl spent 3 years in 4 different camps, including Auschwitz, one of the most horrifying places in human history. And when it was all over, when he was finally free, he sat down and wrote a book. Not a book about hatred, not a book about despair. A book about what helped people survive, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually. Breath. That book is called Man's Search for Meaning. It was published in 1946, and in the decades since, it has sold over 15 million copies. It has been translated into more than 50 languages. It is consistently listed as one of the most influential books ever written. And the reason is simple. The things Viktor Frankl discovered in those camps, the lessons written in suffering, are just as true today as they were then. So today, we're going to walk through this book together. We're going to look at what happened, what he learned, and, most importantly, what it means for your life right now. Let's begin. The first part of the book is the one that stays with you forever. Frankl doesn't write like a historian. He doesn't give you cold dates and dry facts. He writes like a man who was there, and you feel it on every page. When he first arrived at Auschwitz, the prisoners were forced off the train and made to stand in 2 lines. A Nazi officer, seemingly calm, almost bored, pointed left or right. Left or right. That was it. One direction meant you were sent to labor. The other direction meant you were sent to the gas chambers. Frankl didn't know this at the time. He just followed the line. Later, he found out that 80% of the people who arrived on his train that day were killed within hours. Can you imagine that? Walking off a train, looking around at the same sky, the same grass, and not knowing that most of the people standing next to you have only hours left to live. This is how the book begins, and it sets the tone for everything that follows. The 3 psychological phases. Frankl, being a psychiatrist, observed not just his own experience, but the experience of everyone around him. And he identified 3 distinct psychological phases that prisoners went through. The first phase was shock. When people first arrived, the sheer scale of the horror was too much to process. Some people went completely numb. Others had what Frankl called the delusion of reprieve. They kept telling themselves it couldn't really be this bad, that surely someone would come, that this was temporary. Denial, in other words, a desperate attempt to hold on to the version of reality they understood. The second phase was apathy. After the initial shock wore off, something darker set in. People became emotionally hollow. They stopped reacting to things that would have horrified them before. Watching a fellow prisoner die stopped being traumatic. It just became another moment in the day. This wasn't cruelty. It was the mind's way of protecting itself. When everything is unbearable, the heart learns to feel less. Frankl describes one moment that captures this perfectly. He and a group of prisoners were being marched to a work site in the freezing cold. The man ahead of him stumbled and fell. The guards beat him with sticks, and the prisoners around Frankl didn't react. They just kept walking, not because they didn't care, but because caring had become a luxury they couldn't afford. The third phase came only for those who survived long enough: disillusionment. When liberation finally came, many prisoners felt nothing, or almost nothing. They had spent so long telling themselves, when I'm free, I'll feel joy, that when the moment actually arrived, they didn't know how to feel it. The emotional muscles had wasted away. But here's what makes this book extraordinary. Frankl doesn't just describe the suffering. He describes the differences. The differences between people who lost their minds and people who somehow kept them. People who were broken and people who somehow were not. And what he found was startling. It wasn't physical strength. Some of the strongest men collapsed first. It wasn't age. It wasn't luck alone. What seemed to matter most, what separated those who kept going from those who gave up, was whether they had a reason, a purpose, something waiting for them, something that made the suffering mean something. Frankl came back to this line again and again, and he saw it proven in the most extreme conditions possible. There was one man in the camp, a prisoner like everyone else, who had been working on a major scientific manuscript before his arrest. He had left it behind, unfinished, and every single day, this man talked about finishing it, about getting out and completing his work, about the ideas that needed to be written down. And that thought, that unfinished purpose, kept him going. It kept him alive, mentally, when everything else was designed to destroy him. Frankl himself had a similar experience. He had written a manuscript that was confiscated when he arrived at the camp. And one of his strongest motivations, one of the threads that pulled him forward, was the idea of rewriting it, of surviving long enough to share what he knew. He also thought about his wife. He didn't know at the time whether she was alive or dead. They had been separated, but he would think of her face. He would have conversations with her in his mind. And he came to believe deeply, powerfully, that love is one of the only things that can survive everything. That even if the person you love is no longer physically present, the love itself doesn't disappear. It lives inside you, and it can sustain you. He writes that in those moments of imagining her, of talking to her in his thoughts, he felt something close to happiness, even surrounded by horror, even in the cold, even starving. And that is one of the most profound observations in the entire book. There's a moment in the book, just a few lines, that many readers say changed their entire outlook on life. Frankl is describing how the guards could take everything from a prisoner: your name, your belongings, your health, your family, even eventually your body. But there was one thing, he says, that they could never take: the freedom to choose how you respond. In any given situation, no matter how terrible, a human being still has the ability to decide what that situation means to them. They can choose their attitude. They can choose to face suffering with dignity instead of despair. They can choose to remain human inside, even when everything outside is trying to reduce them to nothing. He saw this not in theory, but in practice. He saw prisoners share their last piece of bread with someone weaker. He saw men crack jokes in the dark. He saw people cry, not from hopelessness, but from a kind of fierce, stubborn tenderness. A refusal to stop feeling, a refusal to stop being human. And he concluded that this inner freedom is the last irreducible core of what it means to be a person. That is part one. That is what happened. Now let's talk about what he built from it. In the second part of the book, Frankl steps out of the camps and into his role as a psychiatrist. He introduces us to the theory he had been developing for years before his imprisonment, and which the camps had now tested in ways no lab ever could. He called it logotherapy. The word logos comes from the Greek. It means meaning. So logotherapy, at its core, is therapy centered on helping people find meaning in their lives. It sounds simple, but the implications are enormous. Frankl versus Freud versus Adler. To understand logotherapy, it helps to briefly compare it to the two biggest ideas in psychology at the time. Sigmund Freud believed that the deepest human drive was the search for pleasure, that everything we do at some level is motivated by the desire to feel good and avoid pain. Alfred Adler believed the deepest drive was the search for power, that we are motivated by the need to overcome inferiority, to feel significant, to rise. Frankl disagreed with both. Not entirely. He respected these men, but he believed they were both looking at secondary motivations. The primary drive, he argued, is the will to meaning, the need to feel that your life matters, that what you do has a purpose beyond just survival or success. And when that meaning is absent, something breaks. Frankl called it the existential vacuum, an inner emptiness that no amount of pleasure or achievement can fill. Think about that for a second. How many people do you know who have achieved things, good jobs, nice homes, comfortable lives, and still feel somehow hollow? Somehow like something is missing? That's the existential vacuum. That's what Frankl is describing. 3 ways to find meaning. So how do you fill it? How do you find meaning? Frankl offers 3 pathways. The first is through creation, through work, through building something, through contributing something to the world. This doesn't have to be grand. It can be raising a child, running a small business, writing a book, planting a garden. The key is that you are creating something that goes beyond yourself. The second is through experience, through love, through beauty, through connection. When you deeply love another person, when you watch a sunset and it moves you, when you listen to music that makes you feel something real, you are touching meaning. You are reminded that life contains things worth living for. The third is through attitude, and this is the most powerful one, especially in dark times. When we are faced with suffering that we cannot escape, we can still choose how we carry it. We can find meaning in the way we face pain, in the dignity we maintain, in the courage we show even when we're terrified. This is the most profound of the 3 because it's available to everyone, even people who can't create, even people who can't experience joy, even people in chains. Suffering is not the enemy. One of the most challenging and ultimately liberating ideas in logotherapy is this: suffering is not something to be avoided at all costs. Suffering, when it cannot be avoided, can be given meaning. And when it has meaning, it transforms. Frankl uses a beautiful example. A doctor came to him once, grieving the death of his wife. He had been suffering for years. Frankl asked him, "If you had died first, what would have happened to your wife?" The doctor said she would have suffered terribly. Frankl replied, "So your suffering has spared her that suffering. Your pain is the price of her peace." The doctor said nothing, but he left differently. The suffering hadn't changed, but the meaning of it had, and that changed everything. This is logotherapy in action. Not removing pain, not pretending it isn't there, but helping a person see it from a different angle so that they can carry it without being destroyed by it. Meaning is not invented, it's discovered. One final important point about Frankl's philosophy. He was careful to say that meaning is not something you make up. It's not a story you tell yourself to feel better. It's something you discover. It exists. It's real. And life, your life, is constantly asking you to find it. He used the metaphor of a chess game. You don't invent the best move. You look at the board and you discover it. The right move is already there, waiting to be found. Meaning is the same way. It's already there. You just have to look. 7 lessons that could change your life. Now let's bring it all together. Here are 7 lessons from this book. Lessons that come directly from Viktor Frankl's life, his observations, and his decades of practice as a therapist. 1. You can't always choose your circumstances, but you can always choose your response. This is the central pillar of everything Frankl believed. The guards could control every physical aspect of his existence. But inside, in the private space of his own mind, he remained free. He chose how to interpret what was happening. He chose whether to be broken or to endure. In your own life, this means that when things go wrong, when you lose a job, when a relationship ends, when your plans fall apart, you are not powerless. You may not be able to fix the situation, but you can choose what it means to you. You can choose your posture. And that choice is everything. 2. Having a reason to live makes the unbearable bearable. Frankl watched people give up, and he watched people survive against impossible odds. The difference, almost always, came down to one thing. Did they have something to live for? This is a question worth sitting with. Not in a dark way, in an honest way. What is your reason? What gets you up in the morning? What would be left unfinished if you stopped trying? If you can't answer that clearly, this book is asking you to start looking. 3. Love is one of the deepest sources of meaning available to us. Frankl's thoughts about his wife, his ability to feel connection with her even in the worst moments, sustained him in ways that nothing else could. He concluded that love is not just an emotion, it is a mode of being. A way of existing in relationship to another soul that gives life its deepest texture. You don't have to be in a romantic relationship to experience this. Love for a parent, love for a child, love for a cause, love for humanity. These are all real. They all count. And they can all carry you through darkness. 4. Suffering, when it cannot be avoided, must be given meaning. This is one of the hardest lessons to accept, but also one of the most freeing. Life will bring you pain. That is not a flaw in the design. It is part of the deal. The question is not how to avoid it. The question is, when it comes, can you make it mean something? Can you use it to grow? To help others? To understand life more deeply? If you can shift from why is this happening to me to what can I do with this, then suffering loses its power to destroy you. 5. The emptiness inside is not a sign of failure. It's a call to find meaning. If you sometimes feel hollow, like something is missing, even when your life looks fine from the outside, Frankl would not diagnose you. He would not say something is broken in you. He would say that you are feeling the absence of meaning. And that feeling, uncomfortable as it is actually healthy. It is your inner compass telling you to look harder, to go deeper, to ask the bigger questions. The emptiness is not the end. It's the beginning of the search. 6. Meaning cannot be given to you by someone else. It must be lived from the inside. One of the things Frankl makes very clear is that no one can tell you what your meaning is. Not a therapist, not a guru, not a book. Each person has a unique purpose, shaped by their specific circumstances, their specific gifts, their specific moment in history. This can feel lonely, but it is also deeply empowering. It means that no one can take your meaning away from you. No one can live your life for you. And no one else can fulfill the role that is specifically, uniquely yours. 7. The human spirit is more resilient than we think, almost impossibly so. Finally, and maybe most importantly, this book is a monument to human resilience. Not in a motivational poster kind of way. In a real, documented, lived kind of way. These were ordinary people. Professors, bakers, fathers, mothers. People who had never done anything remarkable before. and they endured conditions that most of us cannot even fully imagine. And some of them, not all, but some came out the other side with their humanity intact, even deepened. That should matter to you, because whatever you are going through right now, whatever hardship or grief or confusion is present in your life, it is almost certainly smaller than what Viktor Frankl survived. And if he could find meaning in those camps, you can find meaning in your life. That is not an insult. That is an invitation. So what do you actually do with all of this? I want to offer you a few simple, practical things. Things that come directly from Frankl's ideas and that you can start applying today. Ask the meaning question once a week. Set aside 5 minutes, not more, and ask yourself, what felt meaningful to me this week? It doesn't have to be big. A conversation that mattered. A moment where you helped someone. A project that felt alive. Just noticing it. Just naming it. That trains your attention toward meaning rather than away from it. Reframe your suffering. The next time something painful happens, and it will, try to ask a different question. Instead of, why is this happening to me? Try, what is this asking me to do? Or, what can I learn from this? You don't have to find an answer immediately. Just asking the question differently opens a door. Connect your work to something larger. Whether you're a student, a parent, a professional, or someone in between, ask yourself, who does my work serve? How does what I do make someone else's life better? When you can see your daily work as part of a larger contribution, it stops feeling like a grind. It becomes a form of meaning. Protect your inner freedom. This is Frankl's deepest lesson. Other people can control many things about your life. Your circumstances, your environment, your opportunities. But the space between what happens to you and how you respond, that is yours. Guard it, cultivate it, and use it well. None of these things will change your life overnight. Frankl would be the first to tell you that meaning is not a quick fix. It is a practice, a daily act of attention and intention. But if you commit to it, even imperfectly, even slowly, you will start to feel the difference. Let me close with this. Viktor Frankl walked into a place designed to end him, and he came out the other side with something that no concentration camp could manufacture and no Nazi officer could confiscate. He came out with understanding. Not just understanding of what humans can endure, though that too, but understanding of what makes life worth living in the first place. What it is, underneath all the noise and distraction and ambition, that actually matters. And his answer, arrived at through the most terrible laboratory imaginable, was both simple and profound. It is meaning. It is love. It is the courage to keep living, fully, even when life is hard. We live in a very different world than Viktor Frankl did. Most of us will never face anything remotely like what he experienced, and for that, we should be deeply grateful. But the human questions he was trying to answer, why am I here? What is the point? How do I go on when everything feels dark? Those questions are still with us. They will always be with us. And his answers are still among the wisest ever offered. If you've never read this book, please do. It is not long. It is not difficult. And it will leave you different than it found you. And if you've read it before, maybe it's time to read it again. Because life changes. And the book, somehow, always has something new to say. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this video meant something to you, share it with someone who needs it. Because sometimes the right words at the right moment can be the thing that helps a person hold on. And that is meaning. Right there.